So what about what's the likelihood that they would actually that the automotive OEMs for electric vehicles, let's stick there, that they
Mhm.
will actually partner with Tesla? So we know that one has already in early discussions.
Mhm.
What's your opinion about this?
I think that they will have to do it. That currently, many people, Gary Black, others may think, okay, we're still years away from something. But then you look at the Chuck Cook and the other stuff, and those people, Homars, have been testing it. They're thinking next year. Some of them think there's a chance that Elon's right that it's the end of this year to be as safe as human. So I think that we are not that far away when I track it that closely. There is the legislative side, so getting safe as human, and then legislation could be an issue. So the timing that I see is they roll it off beta, and they're willing to take liability for it, but they still want you to be driving the vehicle, even though it's as safe as human. But because it's as safe as human, that means it's better than half the drivers. Because as safe as the average human means that it's inferior to the better humans, but better than the inferior humans, which would be people who have higher insurance, right? Also, it's the comfort feel of it. So in this phase between um, really help you a lot, make it better, and I replace you entirely, there is a range of things happening where I feel more comfortable with it. And I'm actually safer with it. So by feeling more comfortable, it's the wife or the husband who's the passenger saying, I don't feel comfortable with this thing on, versus, oh no, this feels comfortable. It feels okay, especially compared to you driving and you suck. So then people can start turning it on. So that goes to the 1 month, 2 month free trial, where they say, okay, everyone, 80%, 90% of people who did not buy it here have a try. Try for 2 months, see what you think. And then you get take rates happening as that happens. And then the insurance wise, they say, okay, you pay, you're a terrible driver, you pay $500 a month or whatever or more on insurance, bundle this in. We see that you turned it on. I will, in the bundle, cut you a break, $100 a month or like that. So that
Okay.
would be kind of roll up. And then also going into the other
Yeah.
vehicles, into like the trucks where you retrofit vehicles for fleet owners, because it's 30 million semi trucks globally, about 4 million in the United States. So those turning over that fleet as fast as you can make semis could take 20 years. So replacing those things for that benefit of replacing the drivers, making it safer for drivers, there's financial benefits which could say, oh, that's worth $20,000. That's worth $40,000.
Yeah. So do you think that Elon and Tesla would actually would approve this? So let's say that you know you're Elon and you're talking to Ford, and Ford says,
Yes.
"Yep, I want to license your FSD beta. Great, and I'm going to put it in my electric vehicles, but I'll only do it if you let me put it into my ICE cars as well."
Right.
And would Elon say yes? Because wouldn't that delay the transition?
I don't think it would delay the transition because they're supply constrained on it. So they're building as fast as they can anyway. And the benefit of doing that is, so one, they sell them and sell it profitably. So when they sell it to Ford, if they were to need to get $5,000 or $10,000 of profit, they'll build that in and say, okay, we still make $10,000 of profit on this thing, whatever the number is, right? So that, okay, every vehicle, let's say 500,000 Ford vehicles, that profit from selling FSD is just like if we sold FSD, Tesla sold FSD. So the profit is equal or better, right? And then now I've increased their data flywheel. I go from 500,000 Tesla FSD subscribers
Mm,
to 1 million combined with Ford. So,
mhm.
and Elon knows that this is the biggest thing. Getting there faster, more data there is better. So if he can go to 2 million, 4 million vehicles, 10 million vehicles faster, that means he gets to the end goal of complete automation faster.
Okay, yeah. Safety versus
Safe.
the climate,
Right.
but you can't. Yeah,
Well, they both
yeah.
happen. It's just a question. One happens first, and the fact that he'll have robotaxi level FSD means that he will be able to apply it to all of the EV fleet and create Tesla's EV fleet, and then the passenger miles. convert faster. If he can get to Robotaxi, he 5x's the passenger miles. So the fact that
Mm.
he's using this thing to help them hobble along, and then he gets to his nirvana state faster, he still wins.
Okay, okay.
We
I
still
think
win.
I can buy that. Okay, so what's one of the things you were saying then is that you think that he's going to license it not only to the ICE cars, but that you can retrofit. And you're saying that the first thing that makes most sense is the robo trucks. Can
Right.
you? I know you mentioned it earlier already, but just dive a little more deeper on this.
So um, trucks are mainly driving on highway, so that is easier use case. The other thing is that they have things called platooning, and they've been tests in Europe and other things where they've gone across states and countries where platooning is I have a lead truck, I have a great human driver in front, and then I'm followed by 8, 10, however many other trucks, which could be a Robo-truck. So then it's looking and staying behind the tailgate, following it, but it's smarter than just having a physical hitch because someone needs to get an exit. They'll okay, I'll see that car and I'll extend the gap, let them through and do stuff. So it's and also by following close behind, most of the time, I'll save energy fuel by about 30% because of air drag. So the trucking part can be far easier if you have a really solid driving system for highway and other stuff. And a truck costs $150,000 for an ice truck. A semi might be is 250. The other competitors are at $400,000. So these are big expensive things, which would take 20 years to fully replace an EVIs. But if I say, okay, I want to get this economic benefit out there first, then I mass produce 30 million of these kits and just have the chip and the cameras, and then that 30 million times if it's 20,000, $600 billion, right? So I get $600 billion and I get 30 million vehicles all using this thing, and it provides supply chain benefits and all that kind of stuff. So you're bringing forward the from 2040 something to get all your semi fleet converted to 2030, 2035.
Wow. Yeah, I'm a believer of that as well, that they'll be the trucks. And I remember a statistic that Elon had said before that one of the biggest transportation modes of transportation for goods and services or goods is trains.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you are able to do EVs autonomy for trucks, and exactly the way you described it, and if it can replace trains, this is a massive, massive business. You're going beyond the trucking business. You're eating away at the railway business, which is like I don't know what the number is, but it's massive,
So
right?
it's about for the U.S. It's about 70% of goods are transported by truck, about 20% are by rail, and then 10% air and ship. So, but for other countries, Europe, as you know, there's more trains and stuff over there. China, more trains. Then the ratio is different, and where they use rail more than we do. But it's yeah, so it gets competitive there. And like I said, it takes out that whole 10% of goods, 10% cost to transport goods down to perhaps half or less, even potentially as much as only 20% of the cost. So it's a massive economic benefit. Plus, in terms of the climate change impact, when you get those things converted to electric, then it is of the 20% of oil that's used for transportation, for ground transportation, I think 15, 16% is truck. So you need to um, get that all
Just that,
converted,
yeah, huge.
which
Yep.
also goes to Megapack when you do that.
Can you walk me through detail the how this retrofit or how this implementation works? Right. So it's not just there's the chip and then there's the cameras, right? Don't you
Right.
need to have some sort of over the air,
Hard
Wi-Fi?
update
What
up there operating system.
updates? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so
The
you need to
operating
have
system.
over the updates because people get FSD 10 point, 11.3, 11.4. So those are over their updates. You do not want Tesla doesn't want to have service where you have to come in to get an update like I may have for my Subaru or something like that. You don't want that. So they will definitely have to include the Tesla OS and basic electronic spine thing for it. So they won't be able to, like I I lobotomize my thing, or I rip it out and you only get this part. It's like it's all part of the same system. So it's I think you had a discussion with Randy discussing the fact that they would sell the OS. I don't see how they make it work if they don't sell the OS. Like you could turn stuff off in order to save some kind of like charging aspect of it, but in terms of like it needs to be in there. So you'd have to have the hardware system, which is the FSD chips in there, and then you need to have 8 or however many cameras they have. So you have to have that installed. And it's I'm guessing in the range of $5,000, to do a retrofit.
Yeah, there's some folks that are saying that it's not just going to be licensing of FSD. It comes with the over-the-air updates, but also will now have the operating system and maybe even just like everything, like all the software. Like we heard Ford CEO saying that it takes 150 vendors that they have to work with. One, Bosch manages the the seat going forward and backwards, and you can just have one vendor. It's just so much easier because they're all integrated together. But it just makes sense, wouldn't it?
Right.
They just
It's also
outsourced
like
everything.
Tesla doesn't want to change its back end. Like they have some master supercomputer stuff, hardware data center stuff, sending stuff out, plus the whole data gathering thing, where things are being broadcast back. They want that all to stay the same. They don't want to have a separate thing for Ford. It's like if you're doing it, you're doing it our way. It's just like
Yeah.
when people in IT buy SAP, the software for accounting run their business. If I do it, I'm doing it the SAP way. If I'm doing this, I'm doing it the Tesla way. So it is a Trojan horse into all these other things, which is not just the digital technical services, but it's also all the other physical services. It's like you're pretty much um, bending your knee on everything. It's like, okay, yes, I'm going your way, but from their point of view, um, they are paying suppliers anyway. It's not like they're making all this stuff themselves. So it's like if I get one better vendor, then I'm still good. So it's a bit like Google Android going to Samsung or something like that, where it's like you have these big ones, but I'm giving you all the smarts, I'm giving the OS, you're selling it, but I'm getting my chunk of revenue.